A story was told about a son and a father. The son one day came up to the father and said, "Father, I want my inheritance now. I want my inheritance now. I want to leave this house. I don't like to live in this house anymore. I don't like the policies. I don't like the rules. I don't like the curfew and everything. So that's why I want to be independent. I want to experience life outside of home." So the father, of course, with a heavy heart, he advised his son, but he couldn't convince him. And lastly, he granted his request. So the father came and said to his son, "Son, here is your inheritance. Take care of it." And obviously, happily, the son received the inheritance, and then off he go. He did not realize what is life like outside of home. In the case of Adam and Eve, they were evicted from the Garden of Eden. Why? Because they sinned. Because they disobeyed the very commandment that God had told them not to eat. And so they were evicted. But they don't know what is life like outside of their home, the Garden of Eden. But let's look at the Bible. Let's understand what life like outside of home. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 8, it says, "And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him." Friends, this is the very first time that the Bible have recorded death. Death is in the air. When Adam and Eve saw Abel lying on the ground, you probably can imagine what is going through in their minds. They have not seen death before. This was the first time that they're going to deal with death. But there you go. So now death is in the air. They experienced it the first time when Cain killed Abel. But go with me to Romans 8, verse 22, and it says here, "For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now." Friends, not only that they have pain at that time when they experience death, not only that the trees and the animals and the fishes and the nature but every creation that God created have experienced pain until now. So here, life outside of home is not a happy life. It's full of pain. And there's death. In the case of the son, God leaving the home, he is going to face pain during that time. Romans 8:22 says, "For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now." Friends, look, the whole creation suffered. The whole creation felt the pain because of sin. There is no death in the Garden of Eden. There is no pain in the Garden of Eden. Pain came in and death came in outside of the Garden of Eden. This is the reality that Adam and Eve is facing. This will be the reality that the son will be facing. Proverbs 22, verse 22, it says, "Rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gates." Friends, there's oppression, there's robbery. Everywhere you go today, we see people robbing each other. We see the rich taking advantage of the poor. We see the advantage oppressing the disadvantaged. This is the life outside of home. Matthew 24, verse 6 and 7, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." In verse 7, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." Friends, look, as the son leaving home, he would probably witness wars. He probably witnessed death. He probably witnessed people robbing each other. Even he himself was taken advantage of. And the friends that he once knew, did not help him. He found himself working with the swine. And even thinking and pondering upon his situation, the swine has a better situation than him, because at least the swine has food and he hasn't. In his hunger, he probably would eat the food that the swine would eat. And in hunger, he began to think about home. He began to think about the servants that his father had. They even have food to eat. They even have shelter to cover them and protect them during the night. They even have clothes to wear. They lack nothing. But right there and then, he realized that he missed home. He realized that there is so much things that home can offer than the things of the world, than the things outside of home, as he initially thought. And so, friends, this is when the son realized, I need to go back home. I want to go back home. I want to be home. In Genesis chapter 6, verse 5, and it says, And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Friends, this is happening. Why? Because with the thoughts of the man's heart is evil continually. There is nothing good that comes out of the man's heart. This is what life looked like outside of home. And so the son began his journey home. You know the saying that says 1,000 miles begins in one step? He did that. As he dragged his feet going home, at least he is heading towards home. Little did he realize that the father at home was looking and waiting for his son every single day and hoping that his son might come home. One day, as he was looking to the horizon up above the hills, he saw a figure. He saw a figure stumbling, walking, but persistently walking towards home. And he recognized that his son has come home. He didn't wait for the son to get into the gate, but he rushed and went and meet his son and hugged his son and kissed him. And guess what? He celebrated the coming of his son. He said, My son was lost, but now he's found. Friends, you know, God is that Father looking out for us. He is waiting for that one person to come home. He is waiting for you and me. What will be your answer today? I hope and pray that you will join us as we journey home. Let's take one step at a time, at least in the direction going home. Don't delay, my friends. You might be sitting there pondering upon yourself, does God really love me? He did, and He does. He is waiting for you to come home. How long, how much time would you wait until that day that you come home? Friends, let's decide today. Let's go home. May God bless you. We'll see you next time.